Most women do not actually want friendships with other women. They just want somebody who will be a dumping ground for them to talk about men. I started a Facebook group, I believe last year, for women to get together who were in the same area, to connect, to meet up. And for the first couple of weeks, as a matter of fact, the same 3 or 4 people only were actually talking and trying to get other people to get involved in the group and to talk about stuff. The group quickly went dead and everybody stopped talking. I even jumped in several times to try to wake up the group, to no success. I have several mutuals who have started Facebook groups for women, and there's nothing wrong with these types of groups, but it's mostly groups where they get together and talk about things that their exes have done or dates that they've been on, basically talking about men. Those groups are constantly popping, jumping. The conversation's constantly flowing. Those groups see high numbers and a big success rate as far as engagement. But my group, where I want women to talk about themselves and center themselves and talk about the things going on in their life, what they're up to, and to form connections with other women, to possibly meet up for lunch, to meet new friends, was a big flop. I started the group because I noticed on my YouTube channel, women would always comment about how lonely they were and how hard it was for them to make friends. So I was like, well, why don't I make a group where I can make that a little bit easier for them? Yeah, no. And this can be very hard in real life, not just on social media, for a woman who's gotten to a point in her life where the main focus is not men. However, you are friends with women who that's all they want to talk about. And there's nothing wrong with mentioning your husband or your boyfriend or talking about some idiot that you're dating at that moment. But if it's constantly, every conversation is always about men or centered around discussing men, unless you are surrounded by other people who are like-minded in that way, it can become very draining and very frustrating. I did see one creator kind of get offended with a take kind of like this, where she was saying, y'all get so upset with women talking about men, there's nothing wrong with women talking about men, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with the occasional conversation about men. The issue is when it is always about men, and that's the only thing that you can ever seem to talk about, which leads to a bigger problem. Women either don't have anything going on other than dating, their engagement, or their relationship, or they do have amazing things going on, but they don't shed light on that or share that or talk about it because they would rather put the focus on men, which is really unfortunate. I have been a part of many special interest groups over the last several years where a man was never brought up unless it was, oh, quick, let me get this text my husband just sent me, or just some quick shit like that. It wasn't always every single week. Let me tell you about this guy I'm dating. Let me tell you what he did this week. Oh my gosh, let me tell you about another argument I had with my husband. Let me tell you about my ex. It wasn't always 24/7 talking about men. We actually talked about ourselves and shit we got going on for ourselves. I have shared with women numerous times in real life and on social media that just like we put effort into romantic relationships, friendships also take the same amount of effort. You have to introduce yourself to people. You have to vet, because everybody that you meet isn't going to be someone of quality that you want to be friends with. Much like dating, you're going to meet people who do not have good intentions. That's why you set boundaries and you let them go. And don't give me the bullshit excuse of you can't trust women because this, that, and the third, and women have been mean to me all my life, because have you met men? Right. We'll be quick to excuse all their bullshit, roll up our sleeves, and keep going to find the one. But as soon as one woman is mean to us, we don't want any friends. That's why I don't trust females. Around lonely and frustrated because you can't seem to make any female friends, I'm going to say, what have you done to make female friendships happen? Much like a man is not going to show up at your front door and say, hi, I'm the one you've been searching for. Most of the time, a friend is also not going to show up in that way. And if your excuse for not making friendships with other women is because you can't trust women and women did you wrong, and this one time somebody stole my boyfriend right up from under me, I'm going to say a lot of you have dealt with men who have been abusive, and yet you're still willing to roll up your sleeves and go back out into the dating scene to give yet more and more men chance after chance. When you get the tools to solve a problem that you are having and you still don't utilize them, then the problem, it's on you to solve it. But if you choose not to solve the problem, then you also lose your right to sit back and complain about how it's hard to make friends with other women.